Hey guys, welcome back to the shed. It's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler here. We have a TV that was dropped off to me as e-waste. It's a Hitachi 32-inch LCD LED backlight TV with a DVD player. Now, the guy that dropped it off says it was working perfectly. Was it? Well, sadly, no, it's not. I mean, to be fair, the TV does work and the TV gets all the channels, which is a good thing. Let me just explain that quickly. In Australia, and I don't know if they've done this in other countries, but they have changed the format for audio-visual digital compression and encoding, I think they call it. They've changed it from MPEG 2 to MPEG 4. So it's a way that they broadcast the audio-visual, and older TVs will not get some channels, whereas the ones that can handle the MPEG 4 signal can get all the channels. Now, unfortunately, that means a lot of older TVs are being thrown out because you can only get a couple of the channels. You can't get lots of the popular ones. And the only way to fix that, if you want to keep your TV, is to buy a set-top box, or maybe you could Chromecast or something. But it's a bit of a shame because there are a lot of good TVs being thrown out because, well, they're not much good. They still have use as DVD players or monitors if they've got HDMI input and that sort of stuff, and I try to save as many as I can. Back to the issue at hand, this TV, the channels all work. It's a good TV as far as that goes, but the DVD player does not sadly work. It sounds like a chaff cutter. Something's going on. I put the disc in and it said loading on the screen, and then there was clicking noises and it wouldn't even eject. I had to get a pair of pliers to get it out. So let's see if we can fix the DVD player. If we can't, it's still a saleable TV, but I'd like to try and fix it, so we'll have a go. Before we go any further, here's the details of the TV. It's a model VC326000, which is an 81cm 32-inch full HD TV with DVD player. It doesn't give a date. I'm not sure how old it is, but it looks good enough to fix up, and because it gets all the channels, it's going to be quite worthwhile. So I assume we have to take the back cover apart. The DVD's at this end here, and it looks like, I don't think that section comes off. We've got to take the whole cover off. So let's get into it and see what we can find. So this TV has everything going for it, except the fact that it doesn't work properly. So let's see if we can rectify that situation. Alright, I think that's all the screws, but maybe here. Oh, looks like the clamp's broken. Why won't that come out? We might have to take the legs off. That's all we needed. Okay, let's have a look. Our DVD player's attached to the back cover. I think we have to unplug some wires, perhaps, to get into it. Oh, we can release some tape to get us a bit more room. Okay, we have lots of room once we get the tape off. Okay, we have found the DVD player, and we could probably even power it up and see what it's doing. Okay, I've got the TV plugged in. Let's power it up. And now that's just in the corner there. That's gone green because I've just pressed the remote control. So our TV's on. I don't know if it'll take a disc in without me setting it to DVD player. Let's see. No. I haven't unplugged any wires, so I have to find the switch. Oh, maybe the remote control can turn it to DVD. Oh, we would have to go to source and then scroll through, and I can't see the screen at the moment. Well, I guess I'll have to lift it up, won't I? Okay, so I've managed to get the TV to switch to the DVD section. Let's see if it... There we go, I can hear it doing. There, what's going on there? Oh, it's trying to read it. Lasers come on. But now it's just going back and forward. Oh, now it's trying to spit it out. And we've just got a clicking. This is what it did to me earlier. It can't, for some reason it can't eject the disc. And then that calls for manual extraction, which I'm sure isn't how it was designed. Okay, so I guess we should pull that out and have a better look at it. I've just snipped some cable ties and unplugged the wiring loom from this side and this side of the board. So now we can remove the entire mechanism and have a better look at it from different angles. Okay, there we go. The DVD mech has been extracted, and I think I'm going to have to pull it apart a bit and see if I can see anything that's might be likely to cause problems. Perhaps it's a dirty laser, but I don't know why it wouldn't eject. But it does take the DVD in, so the belt should be okay. I have to take the cover off and have a look. Okay, time to dismantle. We might take the board off. So what am I looking for? Well, I don't know. Quite often I'll pull something apart and really have no idea what's wrong with it. But it never hurts to have a look. Sometimes something's quite obvious. Sometimes you just don't get anywhere either. So, alrighto, what do we got? We've got some plugs here. So we'll remove the plugs. That's probably a power one. I think this one's power actually. Not sure. Oh, that might be off to drive the motors. And we have a ribbon cable here we need to be careful of. So there's a little board. I can't see anything that's obviously wrong with it. So that ribbon cable is the data or the connection with the laser. And I think the laser carriage was moving back and forward okay. Little motors at each corner here. So I don't think they actually have belts. I think it's all gear driven. Seems to be bringing the laser back okay. Sometimes gears can crack. Little sensor switch there as well. We can make sure that sensor switch is working. I'm not sure what that switch does. And the mechanics this side, I'm not sure what that does. Given that these ones move the laser, this one must be the loading and unloading mechanism. Let's just take that bracket off and have a look. There could be a belt in there maybe. Oh, there is a spring attached there. I was trying to be careful of springs. Let's push that one back into position before the spring goes flying across the room. Perhaps we can take the spring off the post here. Okay, oh, now it's retracted. We might have got ourselves into trouble there. Let's see if that'll come off now. Oh, there's another spring. Okay, that maybe wasn't the cleverest thing to do. Why is there a loose gear there? Oh, that probably mounted on here. Yes, that meshed in there to pivot on that little pivot. Okay, we've got a bit of dust in here. I've also got two springs now that I don't know where they went. This one, okay, this one we didn't need to disconnect. So I've got that spring back on. We didn't need to unhook that one. And this one just connects from this plate down to the frame on the other side. So we might connect that back up. This part all looks okay. It's certainly well lubed with grease. I can't see any gears that look like they've cracked or anything. The whole gear train seems to work fine. And given that it takes the disc in, that should be okay. Alright, let's try and get this back on before we knock anything out of alignment too much. Okay, that plate's back in position. I think all the gears are good. And that side spring will try and hook up from the other side. Okay, let's take this side off and see what we can find. There's some little sensors here we can move out of the road. Or do we need to? Actually, they can stay there. Okay, will this whole panel come off? There we go. Alright, no springs this time. Okay, that's got us into, you can see the two motors. I think both motors were working because we saw the laser moving back and forward and it took the disc in. I wonder if the laser's just dirty, but that wouldn't make it shudder when it's taking the disc in, surely. I can't really power it up while I've got it apart unless I plug it back into the TV. So I've put it back together for another test. It's not screwed down, but I've plugged all the wiring back in. I forget which way the DVD goes, but oh, hang on, we need to power the TV up. Hopefully it's still on the DVD setting. So the backlights are on, the TV must be ready. Now those two sensors, I think were light sensors, and that would obviously turn on the mechanism, yeah, to take the disc in. I can hear it. But it's not taking it in. Okay, interesting. That section we had apart before is the loading section, and I can hear it buzzing and we can see the motor working if I do that again. So the sensors are working, the motor's spinning, all these gears are spinning, but this one at the end's not. So I reckon we might have a cracked gear. Unless when I put it back together something hasn't engaged, but I'm sure that's what our problem was. It starts to turn these. I reckon we've got a stripped or cracked little plastic gear. Yeah, it's not grabbing it at all now. Alright, I might have to pull that cover off again and we'll have another look at all the gears. Right, now I know where these springs go. I know that I can unhook the one from this side. That's got it. And the one underneath there doesn't have to become unhooked. So now this plate should come off without any tension. Okay. Now, I couldn't tell if it was turning this. We kind of need the plate. Yeah, it's a bit awkward to see if all the gears are working because this one here works off a pivot on the plate. Because this end one here, actually, let's take that one out for a minute. And does this one, oh hang on, maybe that one was supposed to be over there. That might have jumped out when I moved, that looks better, when I removed the plate before. So maybe the gears are okay. That might have been my fault. Let's see if they all work now. They do. Alright, we better put it back together and give it another test. Okay, it's all plugged back in now. Let's give it some power again. Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, okay. Something's not right with the loading. Alright, it's spinning up and the laser is reading it. That's sounding better than it did before. Oh, I can hear some noise out of the speaker, so it's reading the disc now. So I did wipe over the laser before. There might have been a little bit of dirt on the laser. That's working well. Good. Now, will it eject? I think I can do that. I can stop it from the remote and eject. Okay, it's trying. There's something wrong with the loading and unloading mechanism. The sensors are working. Something mechanically wrong. It does take... no, now it's stopped. Alright, so electronically it appears to work fine. We just have to work out why it's not going in smoothly and coming out smoothly. But that's promising. We've made progress. Okay, I think I've found the problem area. I've just been mucking around with this disc here and the sensors work well. You can hear that clicking. But look at that gear. Let me point it out to you. Right there. Now that's the last gear in the whole train of gears that come down the side. And if we stay in focus, that's on the end of the shaft. That is the roller to pull the disc in. Now I'll try and hold this camera still while I put the disc in. And you can see it's actually clicking, it's slipping. And a short while ago I had to push it back on because it actually seemed to work its way off the shaft. And it completely disengaged. Or is it the one before? Anyway, it's this last two gears that is where the clicking's coming from. Yeah, you can see that end one slipping. I wonder if it's cracked or if something's wrong with the meshing or it's broken a tooth. But that's the problem area. I'll have to pull it apart and have a better look at it. Okay guys, I've found the problem. We've got a super close up here of my ugly fingernails, but have a look at this gear. If I flex the teeth, it's cracked. So that's the gear that drives the roller. This roller that brings the disc in, and it just goes on the end there and it just pushes on the shaft. Now because it's cracked, it's obviously slipping, and it was making a clicking sound when it was gripping sometimes and not others, and that's why it wouldn't eject the disc, and it was having trouble taking it in. So what am I going to do? Well, I don't have another gear handy, another little cog, but I think I can probably glue this one on the shaft. I think that will fix the problem, and then we can put it back in. So given that it read the disc before and started to play, I think all our trouble was a dirty laser lens and a little cracked loading and unloading gear, which hopefully we can glue on tight, and it'll keep working for many years to come, hopefully. Now, just getting ready to glue this little gear back on the shaft. I've got a drill bit that's very slightly larger, so I'm taking a little bit of material out from the center of the gear, and I've been working at it for a bit. I can get the drill bit in, but of course it flexes the crack out. But if I hold a bit of pressure on it and spin the drill bit by hand, it's taking some shavings out from inside. I want to make it a bit looser on the shaft so that I can get a little bit of glue down in there. I've done a bit of research on gluing nylon gears. Apparently super glue doesn't hold, and I know they do make some specialized plastic glues, but I've found that JB Weld and even Araldite, that are both epoxy type glues, do work quite well. So I figure this was supposed to be a press-on fit, and if we pressed it on, what happens is the plastic, I believe, shrinks. The nylon shrinks, and then eventually they split because they just get too tight on the shaft. So by grinding the center out a little bit, it shouldn't be super, well, it won't be super tight, it will spin freely, which means that the teeth are all aligned, because if it's stretched, there's obviously a larger gap between two of the teeth, and it's more likely to split again. So now it's going to be quite a lot looser on the shaft, substantially actually. Not enough that it will be out of round. I think there's plenty of give in the teeth, but that spins quite freely on the shaft now. So I'm going to try and mix up a little bit of JB Weld, smooth some on the shaft. I'll clean them up first with some IPA to make sure there's no grease or oily residue there, and get a little bit of JB Weld on the shaft and hopefully inside to basically glue this little gear on, maybe a dob on the ends to hold it on, and leave it set overnight, and hopefully it will hold on for many, many years. It's worth a try because I don't have any other gears. I don't know that you could buy them, and if they do press on, well, they're likely to do the same thing again anyway and just crack. Alright, I'll mix up some glue, or at least some JB Weld. We only need a very tiny amount, and we'll see if we can get this gear attached again. Okay, a little bit mixed up here. In fact, we've got way more than we need, but it's kind of impossible to mix up just a tiny amount. So, which way does this gear go? I think it goes in that way. Let's try and put a little bit of JB Weld inside the gear without getting any on the teeth. That should be ample. And of course the shaft is going to push it out the other side. That's okay, we'll clean it up. If I put my finger on the end, it should spread it onto the shaft. I did clean it up with some IPA. And I think we'll leave the pressure off it, otherwise it's going to push the gear to one side of the shaft. But I think we've got enough on there to give it a pretty good bond. I don't want to put any more on in case it gets into the teeth. If I put the screwdriver through that end, it should hold that roller back. That'll do, so the gear's not pressing on anything. Alright, we'll leave that set overnight, and hopefully that's going to hold it. It's the next morning, as you can tell by the sunlight streaming across the tower through the window and the fact that the glue's set. I always like to leave what I mixed up on the plate just to make sure I got the mixture right and it has set. I think JB Weld probably takes, I don't know how long it takes to set or to cure properly. Maybe I should leave this a bit longer. Anyway, I'm happy with the repair. I did go back and just dribble a little bit more JB Weld around to make a sort of a collar. It didn't go into any of the teeth, and as you can see, if I move the roller, it engages with the other gear, and it seems to be pretty secure. I squeezed it through. When I first pushed it onto the shaft, it squeezed through into the crack a little bit, but it hasn't come through into the bottom of the teeth. So, and they're not meshing that tightly that a little bit of JB Weld on the bottom is going to really affect it. Besides, this rubber roller is actually spring-loaded to allow for the disc to go past it, so that should work fine as long as the glue holds. So I may leave it an extra day just so it's cured properly, and then we'll reassemble, and hopefully the when it takes the disc in, it can handle any stresses and doesn't break that gear. But that should have fixed the problem. So it's been 15 hours, actually a little bit over. So the packet of JB Weld tells me that cure time 15 to 24 hours. Given that this was only such a small amount and it has cured really well on my little mixing pad, I think we'll be right to go. So I've plugged it all back in. Nothing's screwed down yet, but all the plugs and everything are back in. The TV's on, and we need to now give it a test. Now what you're looking at, and I'll give you a close-up in a minute, the gear I glued on is just down here. So that's all the drivetrain of all those gears down. I think the last one's actually a worm drive, and then it operates this roller to take the disc in. So let's see if it works. I think the disc goes that way. There we go. Smooth as anything. Fantastic. I'll give you a little close-up of that action. So you can see how that gear moves a little bit But there we go. Seems to be operating nicely. A couple of little ticking noises. Maybe there's a little bit of JB Weld in one of the teeth, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. It seems to operate smoothly. The disc spins up. Everything seems to go well. Let's hit eject. Stops the disc. And eject. Nicely. I think that cog's designed just to jump up and down a little bit. Just that roller may have little things on it, like a little bit of impurities, and cause it to jump a bit, but the gear doesn't seem to be slipping at all. We can certainly put the disc in and out. Very good. But the next TV I get that I'm scrapping with a DVD player, I might just save the DVD player just for some of the cogs or gears, because it's probably a fairly common issue, I would imagine, especially on the loading and unloading. Very good, I can put it all back together. With the TV back together, it's time to give it a final test. Let's turn it on, and it should still be on the DVD setting. Once the TV boots up, system is initializing. This one always seems to do that. I don't know if it's a normal thing for these TVs. Right, DVD is ready to go, no disc. Let's put the disc in. Now, interestingly, it says this must be inserted with the label towards the front, which would be that way, I assume. And yet on the back, it says label towards the back. So, not sure what's going on there. Lost something in translation, maybe. Let's see if the disc goes in. Nice and smooth, beautifully. Says close, says loading. I can hear it spinning up. And now it's starting to play the video. Fantastic. Works brilliantly. So, job's done, all fixed. And that glue, hopefully, should last. And we'll eject. It says open. And here comes the disc. No longer need pliers. Fantastic. And so ends another successful repair, which I probably didn't need to do. I probably won't recover a lot of value for my time. Oh, maybe I might try and sell it for about $80, but I probably would have got 50 or 60 for it anyway for a TV that gets all the channels. So, and there's a fair chance that someone will probably never use the DVD. I mean, how many people watch DVD movies anymore? But that's all right. I'm happy to fix it. I've learnt a few things. I will recognise that click-click sound, and when I see a CD shutter, I know it's likely to be, or a CD DVD, I know it's likely to be a cracked gear. Now, with the glue, it looks like the JB Weld's going to work well, but if any of you have had success gluing nylon gears before, let me know what you've used. From what I read, super glue just doesn't last. So, and it's obviously going to be a fairly common problem as these sort of mechanisms get older and the nylon shrinks, if that's what it does. So anyway, pretty happy with that repair. $80 back from the TV, should be able to get that. It's got a remote, it works fine now. And maybe a bit of revenue from this video if you guys watch it long enough and share it around. So thanks for watching. Your support is always appreciated. I enjoy doing these fix-up jobs. Let's get on to something else I probably don't need to do or won't do in much for my time, but who cares? It's fun. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.